This is part of the infrastructure that Bunker was working on when they were worrying about some windows. As you can see, these are approximately 6 by 6 or 6 by 8 foot beams. There's no floor here, so he's been putting in a floor. There was also no wall here. This whole wall he had to build. And the roof with the Amish. This is the infrastructure that Bunker has been putting in the last 27 years. As you can see, these are 8 foot by 4 foot beams. And he had the Amish come in and put these in to repair the floor. So when somebody complains about windows and uses that as a pretext to throw him out of his house, I would say that argument is a little bit spacious. I'm going up to the 3rd floor of the barn, where, as you can see, he's got it neatly under control, and he's been working on this project diligently, putting in the roof where there was none, replacing sinks, and he was thrown out of this mission because of some windows. This is the work of a master craftsman repairing and restoring a barn of historical significance for over 27 years. Replacing beams, putting in joists, putting a roof back on. Meanwhile, the National Trust, this is what they did. Here's their restoration project right there. A hole in the ground where a historic national treasure used to exist. A 4-story general store. There's the preservation work of the National Trust that's now trying to take my brother's property and throw him out, have thrown him out, posted a constable because he had some windows that were out of compliance.
The problem started with those vinyl coated windows?
These 4 here.
Right, mine the same as out of front.
Those were all yeah, we've actually put 21 windows.
Amazing.
Thermopane, a flat roof, rubber roof. Patrick Nelson.
They were all cleared by George McKenna.
It's the architect down at the National Trust for Historic Preservation of the U.S. So we had to do something with the flat roof, and I even made him aware of that work had been done. In fact, you know, a lot of the things that they complained about have been remedied. They took the nastiest photos they could possibly get. They came up, you know, it looks like in the middle of winter.
I'm Bunker's mother.
And what do you think about this?
Well, I think that the world is very cruel, isn't it? Because there's some awful, mean, wicked people that have no feelings in this world. But God, He said He would fight against our enemies, so I know everything will be all right. Psalms 35 says God will fight against your enemies.
And who are your enemies?
Well, these are the people that want to take my poor little son's house that he's had for 28 years. And it's done nothing but work on it.
It switched off
What about
my phone, both phones.
Right.
That's why I couldn't get in touch with them.
They didn't even offer him money. They simply wanted him to donate it to their project. Donate this to their project so that it could probably be torn down. See, there's their project. That's how their projects turn out, right there. Just look at the thickness of these beams. This is all work that had to be done by Amish people. to restore this building. Every one of these beams is probably hundreds of pounds. And you can see what the condition of the ceiling was in when Bunker acquired this property. There were holes in the roof, there was water leaking all over this place, destroying it. But he has managed to put on a roof. Now the roof you see there with the holes in it doesn't look so great, but where that used to be is there was absolutely nothing there. There was just water raining down on here, wrecking all the floorboards. And that's exactly what it did. It wrecked the floorboards. As you can see, he's still putting the water under control. It's going in here from where it drips off and goes right down there and into a nice little bucket, down a string and into a bucket. Now, is that neglect of a national treasure? No, that is a careful restoration of a national treasure. It's now be denied this citizen, this American citizen, by the powers that be in Washington, D.C., the federal government.
Eminent domain, they cannot take his property.
How do you feel about them taking it? Do you have any idea about any of this?
I don't know nothing about it. I'm just neutral. I'm just here to protect everybody.
Okay.
Both sides.
You know, the point is, they sold this house to Bunker. There was a young boy. It was so terribly, like it is. It was so awful. That's why Mrs. Morris sold it to Bunker for $89,000. Now, why didn't they sell it to a millionaire? Because he was poor. He was only 29. He spent his whole lifetime slowly trying to restore it. They tell us now we have to have a bond of $400,000 to be able to repair this much.
This is their piece of land. It goes around their hole in the ground, which they took Chester County money to preserve and stabilize, but they ripped it down. And it goes down. See how the pin there? There's a pin there, there's a pin there, and it goes down the railroad embankment, and it connects all to their buildings down there. So everyone's marching around thinking, that's my building. That's not my hole in the ground. And you can call it what you want, restored ruin. But if you want to see what it looked like, they have a lamination down there on the self-guided tour. You can go take a look at it. It's rather nice. It's 4 stories tall. It's the one with 10 cats in it. 2 of them dead. They expected Maisie and I to go in there and scrape them off the floor because the executive director couldn't do it. But she didn't provide us the keys either.
And here we have one of the cats that was thrown out, along with Bunker and Maisie. I don't know if the cat is starving, but throwing this cat out along with the master, or throwing the master out, allowing the cats to potentially starve, I don't know if that's such a great idea. Meticulous care, putting in this crown molding. Meticulous care. The master builder has been putting this together for 27 years. The pretext to take this project away from him over trivial matters. Scott, are you a professional builder? Tell me what you do.
Stop for a minute. Come down. I got to show you something.
What do you do for a living?
I do contracting work.
And what would you say about the work that's gone into this building?
This barn?
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
And would you say that for them to be concerned about trivial windows while he's putting in beams like this is really fair?
You know, what I think it boils down to is that they want a property that he has. They want something he has. That's really the bottom line, and they're using every method they can to make that happen.